Good morning, class 6. Today we will start with chapter 4, What Books and Burials Tell Us. So you can see that the name is very interesting. We will be discussing about the books which we have got from the past or the ancient times and the burials. Burials is this word has been taken from the word bury, B-U-R-Y. So we will discuss how the burials were done, what all information the historians have collected from the form of the burials. That is what we are going to study here. Let's begin the chapter. Mary in the library. As the bell rang, the teacher asked the students to follow him because they were going to the library for the first time. When Mary stopped inside, she found that the library was much larger than their classroom, and there were so many shelves, all full of books. In one corner was a cupboard filled with large, old volumes. Seeing her trying to open the cupboard, the teacher said, "That cupboard has very special books on different religions. Did you know that we have a set of Vedas?" "What are the Vedas?" Mary wondered. "Let us find out." So you must have been I don't know you have gone to the library or not, but you will be getting the opportunity when the school reopens, and you will see that we have a good collection of books in the library, and they are on different topics. Here, Mary is inquisitive to know about the books on religion. Let's continue. One of the oldest books in the world. You may have heard about the Vedas. There are 4 of them. Which are they? Yes, that's right. The Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Yajur Veda and Athar Veda. The oldest Veda is the Rig Veda. It composed about 3,500 years ago. The Rig Veda include more than 1,000 hymns called Sukta or well said. These hymns are in praise of various gods and goddesses. 3 gods are especially important: Agni, the god of fire, Indra, a warrior god, and Som, a plant from which a special drink was prepared. So here they have told us about the 4 kinds of Vedas: the Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Yajur Veda and Athar Veda. The Rig Veda was composed or written about 3,500 years ago. It had the hymns which are there in Rig Veda. They are written in praise of different gods. 3 gods who were important in that era were Agni, the god of fire; Indra, a god of warrior god you can say; Som, which was a plant. It was used for making some special kind of drink. These hymns were composed by sages. Priests taught students to recite and memorize each syllable, word and sentence, bit by bit, with great care. Most of the hymns were composed, taught and learned by men. A few were composed by women. The Rig Veda is in Old or Vedic Sanskrit, which is different from the Sanskrit you learn in the school these days. One more thing, in that era, people were not aware of writing. So they only had the method of learning that was like the teacher said something and the students used to learn it. That is known as the oral learning you can say, and it was learned by hearing. Like teacher said something, students heard it and they memorized it. So that is known as Shruti, when you learn something by hearing. Let's continue. So don't feel that you can read Rig Veda, because that Sanskrit is different from the Sanskrit which you are studying in your school. Sanskrit and other languages. Sanskrit is part of a family of languages known as Indo-European. Some Indian languages such as Assamese, Gujarati, Hindi, Kashmiri and Sindhi. Asian languages such as Persian, and many European languages such as English, French, German, Greek, Italian and Spanish belong to this family. They are called a family because they originally had words in common. So you can understand why they are from the same family, because when these languages were evolved, they had some words were common among them. So that's why they belong to the same family. Take the words matter, that is Sanskrit, ma is in Hindi, and mother in English. Do you notice any similarities? Other languages used in the subcontinent belong to different families. For instance, those used in the northeast belong to the Tibeto-Burman family. Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam belong to the Dravidian family, and the languages spoken in Jharkhand and parts of central India belong to the Austro-Asian family. So you can see that there are different families and different languages which are spoken in our country in different areas, different regions. They belong to these different families. Northeast area, the language spoken here, it belongs to Tibeto-Burman family. Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam, they belong to Dravidian family. And the languages which are spoken in Jharkhand and central India, they belong to Austro-Asian family. So list the language you have heard about and try and identify families to which they belong. The books we use are written and printed. The Rig Veda was recited and heard rather than read. It was written down several centuries after it was first composed and printed less than 200 years ago. So initially, whatever we have in Rig Veda, it was only orally recited. There was nothing which was written. It was recited and students heard it and they learned it. How historians study the Rig Veda. Historians, like archaeologists, find out about the past, but in addition to material remains, they examine written sources as well. Let us see how they study the Rig Veda. Some of the hymns in the Rig Veda are in the form of dialogues. This is part of one such hymn, a dialogue between a sage named Vishwamitra and two rivers, Beas and Satluj, that were worshipped as goddesses. So, how they have studied the Rig Veda, that is the historians, like archaeologists, those who are studying about the past, and whatever information they get from these things, that is what they share with us and what we are reading in the books. So they study the material remains, they examine the written sources, and whatever material things they have received, they have got from the past, they study it, try to find out in which era it was made or in which era it was written. So some of the hymns in the Rig Veda, they are in form of a dialogue. That means two people are talking to each other. And here the dialogue is between a sage or a saint, Vishwamitra, and two rivers, Beas and Satluj. You can see these rivers in map 1. Vishwamitra and the rivers. Vishwamitra, O rivers, this is the dialogue, come down from the mountains like two swift horses, like two shining cows that lick their calves. You move like chariot to the sea through the power of Indra. You are full of water and wish to unite with one another. The rivers, we who are full of water, move along the path the gods have made for us. Once we start flowing, we cannot be stopped. Why do you pray to us, O sage? So, first Vishwamitra is talking to the rivers and he is asking, he is requesting that these rivers, they should come down from the mountains, and when they come down, it appears as if two swift horses, they are moving, or when two cows, they are licking their calves, that is showing their love to the calves. And you move like a chariot to the sea. He's comparing, like the river moves like a chariot to the sea through the power of Indra, and you are full of water and wish to unite with one another. Both these rivers are full of water and their aim is to unite with each other. Then the rivers are saying, the river, we are full of water along the path the gods have made for us. Once we start flowing, we cannot be stopped. Why do you pray to us? So the river is saying that yes, you are right, that we are full of water. We move along the path that God has already decided for us. Once we start flowing, we cannot be stopped. Why do you pray to us? So the river is saying that once we start flowing on the path which God has decided for us, we cannot be stopped. Why do you? And then the river is asking that, oh priest, why are you praying us? So Vishwamitra, oh sisters, please listen to me. The singer who has come from a distance with his chariots and carts, let your waters not rise above our axles so that we can cross safely. So now Vishwamitra is saying that, referring these rivers as sisters, and he's asking them to listen to him and the singer who has come from a distance with his chariots and carts. Let your waters, he's requesting to the rivers that don't let your waters rise above the axle so that these people can cross the river safely. The rivers, we will listen in your prayers so that you can cross safely. So the river is replying to the sage, the saint, that we listen to your prayers and so we are going to give you the way to cross safely. Historians point out that this hymn was composed in the area where these rivers flow. They also suggest that the sage lived in a society where horses and cows were valued animals. That is why the rivers are compared to horses and cows. So, from these hymns, the historians came to the conclusion that the river must be flowing. These hymns were written in that area where these rivers must be flowing. And since this sage is comparing these rivers to cows and horses, that means these animals were respected and taken good care of, and that's why these rivers have been referred by these animals. Do you think chariot were also important? Give reason for your answer. Read the verses and find out what are the modes of transport that are mentioned. Other rivers, especially the Indus and its tributaries and the Saraswati, are also named in the hymns. The Ganga and Yamuna are named only once. So the other rivers which are mentioned in the Rig Veda are Indus and its tributaries. They have talked about river Saraswati, but the name of Ganga and Yamuna have been mentioned only once in Rig Veda. Look at the map on page 2 and list 5 rivers that are not mentioned in Rig Veda. So this is your homework for today. You will be looking in the map and pointing out the name of the 5 rivers and writing it on the Google Classroom. You will answer it there itself. You will not write it in your copies. So that is all for today. Take care of yourselves, class. Please do read the chapter so that next time when we continue with it, you will understand it easily. If you have any queries, you can WhatsApp to me. Thank you. Take care.